So what's your flavor? Do you prefer English taste, Italian taste, or American taste? Well, now that you know how your suit should fit, there's only one thing left to do, and that is figure out the silhouette for your signature style. And we're talking all about that today. What's up, all you good fella fly guys? You know who it is, the Cat in the Hat, your resident fly guy, your chief architect, Michelangelo of StyleArchitects.com, here to help you redesign your frame of mind when it comes to the styling thing and it's Trending Thursdays. Yeah, I hope that you've been showing up this week in style, but if you haven't, if you've been having some issues with your image, or you find yourself just a little bit confused every time you step into your closet, well, fret no more. That's exactly why I'm here, to ensure that you are showing up in style and leaving a lasting impression with your image. Now, again, today we're going to be talking about the 3 silhouettes that you should start paying attention to when it comes to your own personal style. But before we do, if this is your first time here, welcome. I appreciate you for taking the time to explore style with me. If you find this information beneficial, and I'm hoping you will, then please consider subscribing. I would love to be a character in your stylistic story. If you already subscribed, you know I appreciate you and our dialogue and our discourses in dress. Now you only have one thing left to do, and that is hit that notification bell, and that way you will be notified every time new content comes out. So why are we talking about the silhouette on Trending Thursdays? Well, as a man who's paying attention to menswear, I'm sure that you've noticed that not a lot changes when it comes to menswear. I mean, a jacket is still a jacket. So the transitions often happen in the cuts, the silhouettes, and the proportions. So unless you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years, then you've probably seen a much more fitted silhouette and almost shrunken look. Now this is a bit of a retardation. Don't get mad at me about this, but this is a bit of a retardation from the Italian style, which we're going to talk about, but it is now the shrunken look or the shrunken style. And what you're seeing a lot of guys do is wear jackets that are extremely short. I'm talking about way too short for their body type when it comes to their pants and when it comes to their jacket, and they're also wearing it extremely tight. But it was actually originated by Thom Browne back in around 2009. And the reason why I say that it is a retardation of the Italian look is because there were a lot of similarities taken to the extreme when it came to the shrunken type of look. And while I'm definitely not a fan of the shrunken look, if that is your mood and that's the way that you want to go, you definitely have that option. Just continuously ask yourself, what are you saying with a jacket that is way too short for you and pants that are starting to look like high waters? Just something for you to consider. Now, when it comes to the types of jackets that we're going to talk about, we're going to take into consideration several components that are going to make up the silhouette. And that's going to be the shoulders, that's going to be the chest, and that's going to be the shoes. You thought I was about to be like, wipe me down. Hey, no, we're not wiping down today. But this is going to be the shoulder, the armholes, the chest, the waist, as well as the pants, and just for added effect, the cloth, because that does have some conversational points when it comes to the origins. So if we're going to start out our conversation on the silhouette, and we got to start out at the beginning, and that is with the English silhouette. Now the story goes that the suit has its origins in the military, and this is so that officers of high ranking or elected officials could have something to wear in their leisure time when they were out at the opera or doing any one of those cultural activities, and was a certain sign of luxury or status. Now, with its origins beginning in the military, how do you think the structure of the jacket is going to be? Probably pretty uniformed and structured. Now, when it comes to the shoulder line of the jacket, then it is usually going to be much more rigid and go straight across. With English silhouettes, what they try to do is add some padding, which will add a more structured type of look. When it comes to your armholes are going to be cut slightly higher, which is going to allow for a nice range of motion. The chest and the waistline is going to have a very stiff and structured canvas, so it will maintain the body of the look for the day, really, when you're wearing it and when you're moving, and it's not going to really have too much give. And this is also going to be reinforced by the types of cloths that are chosen when it comes to English suits. Now, again, in contemporary society, you have much more range of options of the fabrics that you're selecting, but if you're staying with a truly English style type of jacket, then you're going to notice that they're going to be heavier fabrics. This is going to be beneficial when you need some better drape, but they are going to be very insulating, and that means that they could get hot really quickly. So when it comes to that type of silhouette, if you are a guy who enjoys structure, order, and maybe a little bit more of the A-type personality, and you take care of your body and you are making sure that you want to show off the structure and the form of all that hard work, that focus, and that precision, then you may want to consider adding the English silhouette to your signature style. Now, when it comes to the Italian style, part of the reason why I think a lot of people started taking a liking to the look is because it has this casual flair to it. The reason being is because it is a very light type of fabric. Now, the story goes that the Italian silhouette begins with the Zegna and Brioni brands. Now I'm sure that their origins probably started out with some of their tailors going over to London, to Savile Row, to study under the greats, and then brought that knowledge back to Italy. But the climate and the movements of Italians were much different. First and foremost, it's important to remember that in Italy, you're in more of a Mediterranean type of climate, which means that you can't have heavier cloths on. And because of that, the way that the suit is going to be draped is going to be much different. So when it comes to the chest and the waistline, everything was much more fitted. It was much more streamlined for the look. And when it came to the armhole was cut significantly higher, and it allowed for a much wider range of motion, which would offset the closeness of the rest of the body. Now, when it came to the canvas and the fabrication, everything was light. Everything was very free-flowing and easy to move. And so because of that, you had a construction that is very easy to wear, but is going to expose a lot of things that the English silhouette may not have. Now, of course, again, in contemporary society, as we have continued to innovate these different types of silhouettes, they have found their own tricks of the trade to hide those things. But again, these are things that you're going to want to pay attention to. Even when it comes to the pant legs are going to be much more tapered to the body. And again, the hemline is generally going to be much shorter when it comes to the break of the pant. So if you're a dude who overheats easily, who works out, make sure that he maintains his body, and you really don't have a whole lot of flaws, and you really just enjoy that very whimsical, casual, free moving type of look, but don't mind being well dressed and being well versed when it comes to the expression that you want to convey, then I would tell you to look at the Italian silhouette. So the last silhouette is one that gets dumped on a little bit, and understandably so from where we are in a contemporary society, but it still does have a great legacy and a great story when it comes to its expression, and that's the American sack suit. So the story goes, when the Industrial Revolution actually started and things could be mass produced, it was much easier for you to cut out a boxed pattern and have that manufactured so that every guy, no matter what his income, had access to the suit. It doesn't necessarily mean that they could afford it, but by this time, every guy had at least one suit for his Sunday gatherings, or if he was taking his lady out on the town. As the name probably gives away, there's not a whole lot of structure to its original expression. So you're going to have a lower armhole, which is going to seem more comfortable, but it will restrict movement. You're going to have a less fitted and structured body. The canvas will still be there, but it's not going to be as pronounced as the English, and it won't be as shaped as the Italian. When it comes to the waist, everything will kind of have a more linear type of look to it. And so because of that, it is a very relaxed type of suit in its origins, but due to modern day and contemporary society, this has been reshaped and reformed so that it's more of a conservative silhouette, and it still will be shaped in the back, but it will give you much more room when it comes to the chest and the waist area. Now, if you're a guy who hasn't really hit the gym in a few years and you're starting to embrace that dad or just getting older, grown man type of weight, then you may want to start looking at American silhouettes. Now, again, none of these are going to be right or wrong. You just have to figure out what is going to work for you. And once you figure out what does work for you, then you can begin to manipulate those other things to draw from those other types of silhouettes. Part of the reason why I didn't talk too much about the other dynamics such as lapel width or vents is because in modern day society, with the access that we have to custom clothing and all these different types of things, you really can do a whole lot more, and a lot of designers are starting to blend different aspects that they appreciate or that they enjoy into their own signature collections. So you really don't have to worry about something that's strictly going to adhere to that look. It's more important for you to find those basic concepts so that you are moving with a signature style. So if you found the video beneficial, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It'll help the channel grow. Please make sure that you share this with a friend. I guarantee you there's somebody who's like, man, I did not know that I could get me a different type of silhouette, and that's going to help them step their stylistic game up. And leave me some comments in the comment box. Let me know which silhouette you like and why it benefits you in your body type, as well as the type of expression that you're looking to communicate. I sure would love to hear that, and I know some of the other guys in the community would benefit from that as well. Don't forget, we are here every Monday through Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And lastly, don't ever forget that dress is nothing more than the expression of a man's state of mind, so you should always dress to express. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.